Hey guys, how's it going out there? Hope you guys are doing well. So today I got some MCU news for you. So as it has been revealed, Avengers Doomsday has been delayed from coming out in May of 2026 to December of 2026. And Secret Wars, which was going to be coming out the next year after that, 2027, has been moved to late 2027. And to be honest, I'm not surprised. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time now. I mean, even when they were still going to do the Kang Dynasty, which actually that film, if it had been made, was supposed to come out this year. And I've been saying for a while now that they should be, I wouldn't say canceling any Avengers film, but they should be postponing any type of Avengers film for a few years because the MCU has just done an abysmal job of establishing fucking anything. I mean, they've made more shows and films post Endgame than they did pre Infinity War and pre Endgame, and yet they've had less to show for it than before. Like, there's nothing established. Like, we don't know who the Avengers are. I mean, I guess Thunderbolts, I guess this is a spoiler. I haven't seen Thunderbolts, but apparently the Thunderbolts are the new Avengers. And if that's the case, it's like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. The Thunderbolts? What? Fucking the Yelena chick and the Red Russian and Bucky and Sentry? That's the new Avengers? Really? Like, no. I mean, maybe Sentry. I can see Sentry as an Avenger, but fucking the other characters? No. I would not view any of them as Avenger type characters. And Sam is supposed to be the leader, quote unquote, of the new Avengers, and he hasn't had an Avengers team at all. Like he's only had one movie in the show, and neither of those set up any type of Avengers team. Like, I mean, who the fuck is supposed to be Sam's Avengers? Because apparently he shows up in the post credit scene of Thunderbolts, and he's like suing Thunderbolts for the Avengers name, which is fucking stupid. But that's it. Like, the leader of the new Avengers has done nothing when it comes to making an Avengers team, establishing an Avengers team, or having any type of chemistry with any type of character that's supposed to be in it. Like, that's the other thing. And that's the other problem is like they have so many fucking characters in the MCU now that they don't know what to do with them. Because the one thing I kept wondering when they announced that they were going to do Doomsday and Secret Wars is like, how are they going to figure out how to fit these characters in there? Because there's just too many. They got from the Eternals, they got the Celestials, they got Shang-Chi, they got Moon Knight, they got She-Hulk. Now they got, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, they got Deadpool, they got Doctor Strange, they got Wanda, who may or may not be dead, they got Spider-Man, who's now a complete stranger because the memory wipe spell. They got Scar, Hulk's son, they got Hulk, they got Captain Marvel. They got America Chavez. They got Kamala Khan. They got Monica Rambeau. I mean, there's just a fucking endless amount of characters. It's like, how do these characters fit in anything? Like, and now they got the Ironheart coming out this summer. Who the fuck knows where she fits in anything? Then you got Wakanda with Shuri, and then you got T'Challa's son, who may or may not ever show up again. Then you got Tony Stark's daughter, who may or may not ever show up again. Then you got Cassie Lang. Then you got Ant Man. Then you got the Hawkeye chick. I forget Kate. Yeah, Kate Bishop. You got Kate Bishop, and then you got you just got so many characters out there. You got the new Guardians with Rocket, and then you got Star Lord who's on Earth doing his own thing. Then you got Thor with Gore's daughter. There's just so much going on in the MCU, and none of it makes any type of cohesive sense. Like, how does any of this fit together? How does Monica Rambeau fit in anything? How does Shang Chi fit in anything? How does Moon Knight fit in anything? How does the Eternals fit in anything? And most of these characters have never even seen each other. They've had no type of interaction. They've had no shows or TVs like series together. So this is just pretty much just going to be a combination of random characters tossed together into a blender, all meeting each other for the first time. Which, in one sense, is I mean, okay, kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like it would be far better for these characters to have chemistry with each other going into the big culminating event. Like, With Infinity War, yeah, you had different groups of characters who hadn't met each other, but they were established within their own groups. Like the Avengers were established. We knew who the Avengers were, and they were an established group with dynamics and relationships. The Guardians, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they were an established group. We understood their dynamic and their history. So it was just different groups of established characters crossing over with different characters, and that worked. But in this situation, you're going to have the X Men, a very weird X Men, because you're going to have X Men of different multiverses, I guess, because you're going to have Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're going to have Patrick Stewart's Professor X, and you're going to have Ian McKellen's Magneto, and you're going to have Nightcrawler, and then you're going to have Deadpool, I presume. So you're going to have the most mix smash blender tossed up X Men, and then you're going to have the Fantastic Four, who are going to be introduced for the first time this year, who are going to have no chemistry or any type of relationship with anybody. So it's like, who the fuck knows how that's going to work? So it's just like, I don't know how this is even going to come together, because Doctor Doom is supposed to be the big bad of Doomsday, and he's not been established. He hasn't been in anything. I mean, I guess he might show up in the Fantastic Four, but that's a maybe, and it doesn't seem like he's going to show up there either. So Doctor Doom, the big bad of the new Avengers, movie, hasn't been established. Like, at least Thanos had been shown and been teased for years leading up to Infinity War. So we knew who Thanos was, what his goal was, what he was looking for, what his plan was. All that was built up and established going into Infinity War. Going into Doomsday, we know fucking nothing about Doctor Doom. We don't know what his goal is, what his objective is, what his backstory is, why he's doing anything. So in this Doomsday movie, they're going to have to establish all of these character relationships, all of these character dynamics, Doctor Doom's backstory, Doctor Doom's goals, Doctor Doom as a character, and they're going to have to do this within a 2 to 3 hour film. That's just too much to do. Like, there's too much shit they got to set up in this film for it to be any type of cohesive story. And that's the problem, is like, I just don't see how this is going to work. Like, yeah, they're delaying it from May to December, but that's not enough time. Like, that's not enough time, because the problem is, it's not about this movie. It's the fact that for the last several years, Marvel has done a fucking shit job of establishing the post-Endgame MCU universe. And I've been saying that for years. Like, we do not know the status of anything in the universe. We don't know what the status of Shield or Sword is. We don't know what the status of the Avengers are. We don't know what any of these characters are doing. They're just off doing their own thing in their own movie. And that's it. Like, that's the problem that these movies have had, is that they're only focused with their movie. These movies are not being made to set up the overall bigger event. And these shows are just filler. But the problem is, the shows that they've been releasing are filler with also crucial information for the films. So if you haven't seen the shows, you're kind of lost as to what happens in the movies. Like, WandaVision is a perfect example. Like, if you didn't see WandaVision and you went to go see Doctor Strange 2, you're going to be kind of lost, because if you've only seen the films, the last time you saw Wanda, she was at Tony Stark's funeral in Endgame. And you go to Doctor Strange 2, and it's like, wait, when did Wanda become evil? When did Wanda enslave an entire town? What is Westview? I thought Vision died. Why is Vision back? Why is he white? When did Wanda have kids? When did that, like, there is so much context and so much missing information that is core to the story of Doctor Strange 2 that you're just going to be lost about. Like, you have no idea. And that's another problem that these shows have started to have, is like, they have important information, important story beats for these movies and for these big events that if you did not see them, you're at a loss with. And then even that, like, they do a poor job of building that up, because Vision, I mean, speaking to him, where the fuck is he at? Like, I mean, I know he's supposed to have his own show or something, Dream Quest or something, but he's just been gone. Like, the last time we saw Vision, White Vision, was at the end of WandaVision, and he's not been seen or heard since. Like, you would have thought he would have showed up in Doctor Strange 2, to interact with Wanda, and he's never even mentioned. He's just gone. And so when Vision shows up, like at some point, maybe in Secret Wars or Doomsday, most people are going to be like, how and why the fuck is Vision here? And why is he white? Like, I thought he died in Infinity War. Well, how'd he get here? Well, he had to watch WandaVision. How did Monica Rambeau, why does she have powers? Oh, you have to watch WandaVision. I mean, I guess with her, that's a little bit different because she was in the Marvels, and I didn't watch that film, so they might have explained in that film how she got her powers. I doubt it. But I mean, it goes back to the point of nothing has been established for any type of major event in this franchise now. Like the MCU is in a state now where it needs years and years and years of building to something. Like they need about a solid 4 to 6 years to establish another Avengers film. But I think it's because they are in the state that they're in. They're so desperate to rush out another Avengers film to kind of give the MCU that like injection of energy again, like to kind of get that hype back. But the problem is there's no hype. And like the two projects that are coming out that show that the MCU is not dead, but is just far from where it used to be is that we have a Fantastic Four movie and the X-Men going to be an Avengers movie and nobody cares. I mean, yeah, it's a cool thing that the Fantastic Four, but okay, imagine if back in 2015 or 2016 or like in 2017, it was announced that the Fantastic Four is going to have their own movie and they're going to be Infinity War. That would have broken the fucking internet. And on top of that, we're going to have the X-Men. That would have been the biggest news in the entire fucking media sphere. Like that would have been the talk everywhere that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are going to be in an Avengers film. That would have been the biggest news ever. And now it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. I guess if they have a Fantastic Four movie, that looks kind of cool. I guess Galactus is going to be, and again, Galactus, like that's a villain that people would have been losing their minds over 7 years ago, and now people are just kind of like, oh, I guess that's cool. Galactus, I guess he's in this movie. Like nobody cares. Like the fact that we have Magneto, Nightcrawler, Professor X, and Cyclops that are going to be in an Avengers film with the Fantastic Four. And people are just kind of like, oh, I guess that's cool. I suppose. There's just no interest. Like people just don't care. And it's so fucking disappointing and it's so frustrating because the MCU had all the resources and all the time to make a new, post Endgame MCU and establish it. And they just didn't. Like they just were so obsessed with making as much content as fast as they could that they really weren't caring about any big, grand goal. Like, I mean, yeah, they were working towards Kang Dynasty, but I mean, even the Kang Dynasty before what happened with Jonathan Majors, they weren't really setting that up either. Like, they fucked that up. Like, with Ant-Man Quantumania, they completely botched Kang. Like, so even the big Avengers movie before Doomsday, which was Kang Dynasty, they were fucking that up. I mean, they had the big bad for the next Avengers film get taken out by a fucking group of ants. And this is supposed to be the villain that's going to take on all the Avengers. And he gets killed by some ants in the fucking micro realm. I don't know how he's supposed to be a threat now after he's been taken out by ants. We can just use that again. So they were already messing that up. And again, at the rate that they were going, I mean, I know it's been a few years, but I noticed at the time, like, it was getting kind of close to Kang Dynasty coming out, and I was like, man, they have not really established Kang as this like central like villain. He's just kind of there, and he showed up in Loki, but that was it. And then like how he was portrayed in Ant-Man was very underwhelming and very pathetic actually. Like, he's supposed to be this like multiversal, omniversal, threat bigger than Thanos, and he gets killed by some ants and gets beaten by Ant-Man and his daughter, who's a teenager. And I don't know how I'm supposed to take that guy seriously. And people were like, oh, there's different versions of him. It's like, yeah, but again, he shouldn't be losing to Ant-Man and some ants. He should be a dominant threat that should have killed Ant-Man and shown how much of a threat he was. But that didn't happen. And also, considering what happened with Jonathan Majors, that wouldn't happen anyways. But I mean, the point was, They did not establish anything. And I really think large point of why that they delayed Doomsday is because they need to figure out how this is going to fit together. Because I don't see it. Like I mean, yeah, they delayed it to December, but I don't think that they're going to be able to make anything better in that time opposed to May because. Again, this is years of culminating issues that they're having to try to figure out right now, and they just don't have it. And they brought the Russo brothers back to try to pretty much save the MCU. Like, I mean, another reason that you can tell the MCU is desperate is that they brought back Robert Downey Jr. and two they brought back the Russo brothers. And not to kind of shit on the Russo brothers, but they are not the saving grace that Marvel thinks they are. And this is not to say that the Russo brothers are bad directors or bad writers, but since Endgame came out, they have not had the best track record. I mean, infamously, the Electric State has been universally panned as a fucking trash. The Gray Man was forgettable. I can't remember what else. I think they did something cherry or something. But besides the point, the Russo brothers have not had the best track record since leaving Marvel, which is funny. It seems like both Marvel and the Russo brothers post Endgame have really fallen far from what they were at peak Infinity War and peak Marvel. And also the other thing with the Russo brothers is not to take away from what they did in the Civil War and Winter Soldier and Endgame, but the thing that the Russo brothers had going for them is that they had the foundation to build on. Like, yes, they, did incredible work with Infinity War, but they had a solid foundation of years of work built into it. And now they have no foundation and they just have all this scattered shit to try to make something out of. And with their track record, I don't think that that's going to work. Like, I don't think with having nothing to build off of, nothing of an established foundation to actually work from, I don't know how that's going to work with them trying to make this big Avengers film when it's like, I don't know how you're going to do that. Like, who are we going to put in the film? How are these characters going to interact? Like, there's so much that they have to now do on their own, which they didn't have to do with Infinity War and Endgame. That was already established. So that's another thing is like the Russo brothers is not the saving grace that Marvel thought they were. Robert Downey Jr., I mean, people love Robert Downey Jr., but the problem is people are going to just see him as Iron Man. Like, unless they go to extreme measures to make him completely different from Iron Man, where he has like a whole new different voice and look and physical appearance, he's not gonna be able to convince people that he's not Iron Man. Like, everybody's gonna see him as Iron Man. And the thing is, I don't think that they're gonna pay, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars that they're paying uh Robert Downey Jr., but whatever they're paying him, they're not gonna pay him all that money to not show his face. So they're gonna have his face shown prominently. So people are just gonna see Robert Downey Jr. and just say, "Oh, that's this fucking Iron Man." But also, like, again, and this is something people had been saying for years. Like, they need to bring back Tony Stark and they need to bring back Captain America. And the problem with that is it doesn't matter what character they bring back. If the writing is not good, it's not gonna work. And so if they bring back Robert Downey Jr. to a trash project, it's gonna be trash with Robert Downey Jr. Like, I mean, Thor, he was in Love and Thunder, which was universally panned, and he's one of the founding Avengers. He's one of the original with Captain America and Iron Man. So, like, the idea of just having these legacy characters and these new projects are going to save them, that's not. Like, if the writing is not there, it's not going to work. And so, them having Russo brothers and having Robert Downey Jr., if the writing isn't there and if the story isn't good, it's just going to be bad. And I just don't see how, at this point, they're going to be able to make a decent film. I mean, it might be okay, it might be not exceptionally terrible, but I don't see it being good. It's definitely gonna be nowhere near the hype of Infinity War or Endgame. Like, I don't see any type of engagement like it was with Infinity War. Like, I remember the hype and lead up to Infinity War. Like, that first trailer when it came out from Infinity War, it was groundbreaking. Like, it broke the fucking internet. there was just endless conversation about it, speculation, thousands of videos, people talking about it. I don't see that happening with Doomsday. I really don't. I don't see that type of engagement. I don't see that type of interest. I think people are so burned out with the MCU that they just don't care. I mean, they like individual projects, like they like Spider-Man, they like Guardians 3, but like as far as like Marvel, I think people are just kind of tired. They just are like, we've had enough. Like there's been so much content and so much of it's been bad that people are just kind of tired. And that's the other thing is like for an Avengers film to work, the stuff leading up to it has to be good too. Like if you have just nothing but trash leading up to a big event, there's nothing to get excited for. Like when we were going into Infinity War, we had Civil War, we had Black Panther, Captain Marvel was a little bit of a kind of a mixed bag there, but most of the films leading up to Infinity War were more on the better side than the worse side. So there was a lot of good stuff that made you look forward to Infinity War. And with this, there's just nothing. Like, I mean, who was excited for the Marvels? It was a historic bomb. Who was excited for Love and Thunder? That was trash. I mean, what else did they have that came? The Eternals? That was pan. I mean, there's been more misses and fails, and there have been successes, and also there's been so much stuff that's come out. People are just like, you know what? I think I'm done. Like, I think I'm just, going to take a break from the MCU. So yeah, I don't see this working. Like, and also there are projects that they can't even get off the ground, like the Blade movie. Blade has been in development hell for God knows how many years. Probably won't even get made. And then, now there are Marvel projects that were supposed to come out next year that are getting taken off the schedule. They're, the slate. And I think also I think this also kind of shows like the shift of how Disney and Bob Iger is kind of looking at Marvel as like maybe we should reel it back. Like I think that's what is kind of going to happen going forward. I think that they're going to after Doomsday and after Secret Wars, I think there's probably going to be a very massive slowdown to MCU content. I think there's going to be, hopefully, like about 5 to 6 years of just very limited releases of shows and movies. Quantity or quality over quantity, pretty much. I think that's going to be the goal going forward because I think they learned a lesson from the last few years that putting just tons of stuff out there and just seeing what sticks does not work. So I think we're going to see a period of the MCU where there's just going to be like maybe a show and two movies that come out in a year, and maybe it might be to the point where after Secret Wars we might have like a movie or two movies like every year or two. Like there might not be like back to back yearly releases of films and shows. It might just be one movie, skip a year, then there's a show and a movie. We might be at that point because the MCU's in the state now where it's not making the type of money it used to be. The hype is not there. The interest is dwindling. People who are diehard Marvel fans are dropping off too. And they're not making the type of returns off of these films that they used to. They're probably running into a net loss of these movies opposed to a net win. So, yeah, I think we're probably going to enter a period post Secret Wars where we might see a very limited release of MCU content, which, you know what? I'm all for it. I hope we do get that. I hope that for at least a few years after Secret Wars, it's a very slow down era of just making quality content and just making sure that it's as good as it can be and releasing it. And it might work, after a few years of that, they might regain the interest of people. Because what they don't want to happen is to be in the Star Wars situation. I mean, Marvel's not there yet. They're not Star Wars. Because Star Wars is in a fuck state. That's in a state of I don't know how they're going to fix Star Wars, but Marvel isn't quite there. But they're kind of getting there. If Secret Wars and Doomsday fail, they might be in a worse shape than Star Wars. But we'll have to see about that. But yeah, that's those are my thoughts on Marvel and Doomsday and Secret Wars being delayed, and it's kind of Marvel in general of how they've just not been doing too good. But yeah, with that said, that's it's going to be it from me, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.